The night was cold, the sky was dark and heavy with clouds. A young alien girl ran across the empty ground, her small feet leaving marks in the dust. Her glowing eyes shined in the darkness like two tiny stars. She was afraid, but she kept running. Behind her, she could still hear the cruel voice of her stepmother. "Get out! You are not my daughter. You are nothing. Go away and never come back." Those words cut her heart like sharp knives. She had no place to go. Her stepmother hated her. Her father was gone long ago. Now she was alone, with only the stars above to watch her. She stopped near a group of broken rocks. Her small body shivered. She hugged her arms around herself and whispered into the night, her voice soft and weak, "Father, I won't misbehave. Please come back. Please take me home." But there was no answer. Only the sound of the cold wind blowing through the empty land. Tears ran down her pale face, but she quickly wiped them away. She could not cry too loudly. If the hunters heard her, they would find her. Her stepmother had sent them. She knew. They wanted her gone forever. The girl looked at the stars again. Somewhere out there, far beyond the clouds, she believed her real father was watching her. Somewhere, maybe, he still cared. But the stars were silent. She was alone. Her stomach growled with hunger. She had not eaten since morning. The last piece of bread her stepmother gave her was thrown into the dirt. "You don't deserve food," the woman had said with a cold smile. Now the girl's body was weak. She needed help. But who would help an alien child? Who would call? Her daughter. Then, far in the distance, a strange sound came. Low hum, like metal shaking. The girl turned her head quickly. She saw a faint orange light glowing through the trees. Her heart beat fast. Was it the hunters? Was it another trap? She crouched low, trying to hide in the shadows. Slowly, carefully, she moved closer to the light. Her bare feet pressed against the cold ground. She pushed branches aside and peered through the trees. Her eyes grew wide. It was not the hunters. It was a man. A human man. He was tall and strong, his face covered with dust and sweat. He was working on a broken ship. Sparks flew as he hit metal with a heavy tool. The ship looked old, scratched from battles, but the man's hands moved with skill. He was trying to make it fly again. The girl's heart jumped. She had never seen a human this close before. Humans were rare on this planet. Some said they were cruel. Others said they were kind. She did not know the truth, but right now she did not care. All she knew was that he looked safe. Safe enough to ask for help. Safe enough to maybe call father. Her lips trembled. She wanted to step out. She wanted to say the words. But fear stopped her. What if he rejected her? What if he shouted at her like her stepmother? What if he pushed her away? Her small hands shook. The man suddenly paused. He looked around, his eyes sharp. He felt something, like he was being watched. His gaze swept across the dark trees. The girl gasped, quietly, and hid behind the trunk of a tree. Her body pressed hard against the bark. She did not breathe. She did not move. The man stared into the shadows. The silence grew heavy. The girl's heart beat so loudly she thought he could hear it. After a moment, the man frowned and went back to work on his ship. The sparks rose again. The girl sighed in relief. But inside her, a battle was happening. Her fear said, "Stay hidden." Her hope said, "Go to him." Which voice would she listen to? The wind grew stronger. The clouds moved, and the moonlight fell across her face. She remembered her stepmother's voice. "You are not my daughter." She remembered the pain in her chest, the hunger in her stomach, the tears in her eyes. She remembered whispering to the stars, "Father, I won't misbehave. And suddenly, she knew she could not stay silent anymore. She needed someone. She needed a home. She needed a father. Her legs shook, but she stepped forward from the shadows. Her glowing eyes reflected the fire of the sparks. The man froze again, feeling her presence. He turned quickly, and this time he saw her. A small alien girl, thin, pale, trembling, standing in the moonlight. The girl's lips parted. Her voice was soft, broken, almost like a song. "Please," she whispered. "Can you be my dad?" The man blinked, stunned. For a moment, he thought he had heard wrong. Child, an alien child, begging him for a father. His chest tightened with confusion. Who was she? Why would she ask this? Before he could answer, the girl's knees bent. She fell to the ground, too weak to stand. She looked up at him with wide, glowing eyes full of pain and hope. "Please." She said again, "I won't misbehave." The man took a step closer, his heart heavy with questions. Who was this girl? Why was she here? Why did she choose him? And then, from far away, the night broke with another sound. Strange lights flashed in the sky. Loud footsteps echoed through the forest. The hunters were coming. The forest was no longer quiet. Strange lights danced between the trees, glowing red and green like angry fireflies. Heavy footsteps shook the ground. The alien girl's heart raced. She had seen these lights before. She knew what they meant. The hunters were close. The human man looked up from his broken ship. His sharp eyes caught the girl kneeling in the moonlight. At first, he thought she was a trick of the night. But then he heard her voice again, soft, desperate, trembling. "Please, can you be my dad?" He froze. 100 questions filled his mind. Who was this girl? Why did she call him dad? Why was she alone in the middle of the forest? But before he could speak, the girl's small body shook. And she looked over her shoulder in terror. "They are coming," she whispered. "Please, don't let them take me." The man followed her gaze. Through the trees, he saw moving shadows. Tall figures with glowing weapons searched the land. Their voices were cold, mechanical, like machines. "Find the girl. She cannot escape." The human's jaw tightened. He did not like hunters. He had fought their kind before. They never stopped until they caught what they wanted. The girl crawled closer to him, her glowing eyes full of fear. She clutched his arm with trembling fingers. "I don't want to go back," she begged. "Please, I will be good. I won't misbehave. Just give me a home." The man looked at her, surprised. At the words, she was not asking for food. She was not asking for safety. She was asking for a father. His heart felt heavy. He did not know her, yet she was begging him like he was her only hope. The footsteps grew louder. The hunters were spreading out. Their weapons crackled with deadly energy. The man had no time to think. He grabbed the girl's hand and pulled her inside his half-repaired ship. "Stay quiet," he ordered. His voice was low but firm. "Don't move, don't make a sound." The girl nodded quickly. She pressed herself against the cold wall of the ship, trying to breathe silently. The man reached for his weapon-heavy blaster worn from many battles. His eyes stayed sharp. He was used to danger, but something about tonight felt different. He was not only protecting himself now, a small life depended on him. Outside, the hunters moved closer. Their lights scanned the trees. One of them stopped near the ship, his helmet glowing red. He tapped the ground with a metal rod. The sound echoed like thunder. The girl's body stiffened. Her eyes widened with fear. "Oh," she whispered, barely audible. "If they find me, they will hurt me. My stepmother. She wants me gone. She told them to take me." The man turned his head slightly, his eyes narrowing. Stepmother. He did not understand, but he saw the truth in her trembling face. "Achi." was not lying. The hunter outside tilted his head, listening. The man held his breath. His finger rested on the trigger of his weapon. The girl clutched her knees, silently praying to the stars. For a moment, the world stopped. The forest was silent, except for the sound of the hunter's machine breathing. Then, after a long pause, the hunter turned away. His heavy steps moved. Deeper into the trees, the girl exhaled, her small chest rising and falling quickly. She looked at the man, her voice shaking. "Why? Why did you hide me? You don't even know me." The man checked his weapon, then slowly looked at her. "Because I know hunters," he said, "and I know what they do to the weak." The girl's lips trembled. A tear slid down her cheek. "So, will you be my dad now?" The question struck him again, harder this time. He was a wanderer, a fighter, a man with no family. He had never been called dad. Yet here was this child, glowing with pain and hope, asking for that one word that could change everything. He did not answer. His silence made her heart sink. She lowered her head. "I understand," she whispered. "No one wants me." The man's chest tightened. Something inside him shifted. Maybe he did not know her. Maybe he was not ready for such a bond. But one thing was clear. He could not let her fall into the hands of those hunters. He touched her shoulder gently. "Listen," he said. "You can stay with me for now, but you must be strong. If you want me to protect you, you cannot give up." The girl's eyes lifted slowly. For the first time that night, a small spark of hope returned. She nodded, her voice soft but firm. "I will be strong. I promise." The man looked out the small window of the ship. The hunters were still searching. Time was running out. His ship was not ready to fly yet, but he had no choice. He had to finish the repairs fast, or they would both be trapped. The girl sat close, watching him work. She wanted to say thank you, but her throat was tight. Instead, she whispered again, almost like a prayer. "Dad." The man paused for a second, his hand tightening on the tool. He did not correct her. He did not tell her to stop. The ship was quiet inside, but outside the forest was alive with danger. The hunters spread out, their lights slicing through the trees like sharp blades. Each step they took shook the ground. Their voices carried in the wind-cold metallic. "Without mercy, find the child. She cannot leave this world alive." The alien girl sat against the wall of the ship, her knees pulled to her chest. Her glowing eyes were wide with fear. She whispered to herself again and again, as if the words could protect her. "Don't let them find me. Don't let them take me back." The human man tightened a bolt on the ship's engine. His hands moved quickly, but his mind was heavy with questions. Who was this girl? Why did hunters search for her with such rage? And why had she called him Dad? The girl's small voice broke his thoughts. "They always chase me," she said softly. "They never stop." The man looked at her. "Why?" Her lips trembled. She lowered her head. "Because stepmother wants me gone. She says I am cursed. She says I am dangerous." She paused, her voice even weaker now. "But I never hurt anyone. I only want a family." The man said nothing. He could see she was telling the truth. He had seen many eyes in his life, liars, thieves, killers. But her eyes only carried fear and hope. Outside, a sudden blast of light struck the ground near the ship. The girl gasped. The man grabbed his weapon and moved to the door. The hunters were here. "Stay inside," he ordered. But the girl shook her head. "No. If they see only you, they will search harder. They want me." The man narrowed his eyes. "And if they catch you, they will destroy you. Do as I say." The door creaked open. The man stepped outside, blaster ready. His boots crunched against the dry earth. The night air was heavy, filled with smoke from the hunter's weapons. From the shadows, 3 tall hunters emerged. Their armor gleamed under the moonlight. Their helmets glowed red like burning coals. One raised a metal staff. "Give us the child," the hunter commanded. His voice was like iron grinding against stone. "She is not yours to keep." The man stood firm. "She is not yours to take." The hunters spread out, forming a circle. The girl peeked through the ship's window, her heart pounding. She saw the man standing alone against 3 giants. For the first time, she felt something strange inside her chest, not fear, but pride. He was fighting for her. The hunters attacked first. One swung his staff, sending a burst of energy toward the man. He rolled aside and fired his blaster. The shot hit the hunter's shoulder, sparks flying, but the giant barely slowed. The second hunter leaped forward, claws sharp. The man blocked with the butt of his blaster, but the force threw him backward. He landed hard, dust flying around him. The girl's breath caught. She wanted to scream, but no sound came. The man rose to his feet, blood on his lip. His eyes burned with fire. He fired again, this time hitting the ground beneath the hunters. Dust exploded, blinding them for a moment. He used that second to move closer to the ship, but the third hunter was faster. He raised his weapon, aiming at the girl through the window. Her glowing eyes met his. She froze. She could not move, could not scream. The weapon hummed with deadly energy. "No," the man shouted. He threw himself between the girl and the shot. The blast struck his armor, sending him crashing against the ship. Sparks burned across his chest plate. The girl's tears fell. "Dad!" she cried, the word bursting from her lips without thought. The hunters laughed, their voices cold and cruel. "He cannot protect you, child. No one can." The girl's hands shook. Something inside her woke up, warmth deep in her chest, glowing brighter and brighter. Her fear twisted into strength. She raised her small palms toward the hunters. Light burst out, pure, blinding light. The hunters staggered back, shielding their eyes. The forest shook as trees bent under the force. The girl's body glowed like the stars she once prayed to. The man opened his eyes slowly. He saw her standing there, shining like a beacon, her tiny figure filled with power. For a moment, he forgot the pain. He could only stare in wonder. The hunters snarled. "She carries the forbidden gift," one hissed. "That is why the stepmother wants her gone." The girl gasped at their words, but the light from her body kept pushing them back. She fell to her knees, exhausted, the glow fading. The man rushed to her side, lifting her up. Her body was weak, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm sorry, I just wanted to help." The man looked at the hunters, who were recovering, rage burning. In their red eyes, he knew they would not stop. Not now, not ever. He tightened his grip on the girl. "Hold on," he said. "We are not running anymore. If they want you, they will have to go through me." The hunters roared, charging again. The chase was no longer about running. It had become a battle for survival. The night sky burned with red light. The hunters' weapons cracked like thunder, shaking the trees around the broken ship. The human man stood in front of the alien girl, his blaster aimed steady. His chest armor was scorched, but his eyes were sharp. Behind him, the girl sat weak. On the ground, her body still glowed faintly, but most of her strength was gone. She whispered, her voice trembling, "I didn't mean to. I didn't know I could do that." The man didn't look back. "You saved my life," he said. "That's all that matters." The hunters moved closer. Their metal boots hit the ground in perfect rhythm, like drums of war. One raised his voice, cruel and cold. Give the child to us, human. You do not understand what she is. She is dangerous. She does not belong with you. The man's jaw tightened. Maybe she doesn't belong with you either. Without warning, the hunters attacked again. Energy blasts cut through the air. The man fired back, rolling behind the cover of a fallen tree. The girl crawled to him, her tiny hands glowing faintly. She touched the burn on his arm. Warm light spread from her fingers, closing the wound slowly. The pain eased. The man looked at her, surprised. You can heal too. She nodded weakly. But it takes my strength. Too much, and I will die. I'll die. Man's chest grew heavy. He saw now why her stepmother hated her. Power like this was rare to rare. People would fear it. People would try to use it. People would try to destroy it. The hunters regrouped, their red eyes glowing. They spoke to each other in harsh whispers. The man knew they were calling for reinforcements. Soon, more would come. He had to act fast. He grabbed the girl's hand. Listen to me. If we stay, we die. We have to finish the ship. Can you help me? Her glowing eyes widened. I don't know how. Then learn, he said firmly. You want a home. If you want a father, you must fight for it. The girl's chest rose and fell. She had always been told she was weak, always told she was nothing. But now, this man, the only one who had not pushed her away, was telling her she could be strong. She nodded slowly. I'll try. Together, they rushed back inside the ship. The man worked quickly, his hands moving over wires and panels. Sparks flew. The girl sat beside him, watching carefully. Hold this, he ordered. Her small hands gripped the tool. Electricity buzzed through it, making her tremble. She wanted to drop it, but she remembered his words. If you want a home, fight for it. She tightened her grip. The man connected the wires. The ship's engine coughed, then growled weakly. It wasn't ready yet, but it was alive. Outside, the hunters grew impatient. One slammed his staff against the ground, sending a shockwave that rattled the ship. The girl almost fell, but the man caught her. They won't stop. She whispered. Neither will we, he replied. He returned to the controls. The girl touched the engine with her glowing hand. Her power flowed into the machine. Flickered, then grew stronger. The ship hummed louder. The man stared at her. You're feeding it power. She nodded, her face pale. It's heavy, but I can hold it. The man's heart tightened. She was only a child, yet she carried so much weight. He placed his hand on her shoulder. Don't push too hard. I don't need a ship if it costs your life. Her lips curved into a small, tired smile. But you need me, and I need you. For a moment, silence filled the ship. A strange bond had formed, stronger than blood, stronger than fear. They were not family by birth, but by choice. Ah, dangerous choice. The engine roared louder. Outside, the hunters shouted in alarm. They fired their weapons at the ship. Energy blasts burning holes into the metal. Almost ready, the man muttered. But then the girl's glow dimmed. She collapsed, her body too weak to keep feeding the machine. No, 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 stay with me, the man said, catching her in his arms. Her eyes fluttered open. I'm sorry, she whispered. I wanted to be useful. You are, he said quickly. His voice was firm, but his chest was heavy with fear. More than you know. The hunters surrounded the ship, their weapons charged. One of them roared, "Open the door or be destroyed." The man lifted the girl gently and laid her on the seat beside him. His hand tightened on his blaster. He looked at her pale face, her small glowing eyes fighting to stay open. Rest now, he whispered. I'll keep you safe, I promise. The door shook under the force of the hunter's attack. Sparks rained down from above. The ship was alive, but not strong enough to fly yet. The man stood tall, weapon ready. He had faced many battles alone, but this time it was different. This time he was not fighting for survival. He was fighting for someone who finally called him Dad. Outside, the hunters prepared for their final strike. Inside, the bond between man and alien child had become unbreakable. The night seemed endless. Red lights flashed across the forest as the hunters circled the broken ship. Inside, the human man held his blaster tight, his body tense. The alien girl lay weak on the seat, her faint glow flickering like a dying star. "Don't give up," he whispered to her. "We're almost free." The girl smiled weakly, but fear clouded her eyes. "They will never stop. My stepmother will not let me live." Before he could answer, a loud crash shook the ship. The hunters had forced the door open. Sparks flew, and smoke filled the air. 3 armored giants stepped inside, their red eyes burning like fire. The man raised his weapon, ready to fight. But one hunter lifted his hand. "Stop. We were told to keep you alive for now." The girl gasped. "Why?" The hunter's voice was cold. "Because your stepmother wishes to watch you fall with her own eyes." The man fired. His blast hit the hunter's armor, but the giant only staggered. The other hunters rushed forward. Their heavy hands grabbed the man, pulling the blaster from his grip. He struggled, but 3 against 1 was too much. They slammed him to the ground, chains snapping around his wrists. The girl cried out, crawling toward him. "Let him go. Please take me instead." The lead hunter turned his head, his red eyes glowing brighter. "Do you not understand, child? That is the plan. We don't want him. We want you." The man twisted against the chains, his voice sharp. "You'll have to kill me first." The hunters laughed. "If you die, she will give up her power willingly. It will be easier that way." The girl's eyes filled with tears. "Power? What power?" The hunter stepped closer, his shadow falling over her. "You don't know? Your stepmother hides the truth well. You are not cursed, child. You are chosen. You carry the gift of life and light. With it, you could rule planets. But she fears you will take her throne. That is why she sent us." The girl's breath caught. Her small body shook. All her life she had been told she was worthless, dangerous, unwanted. She learned it was a lie. Her stepmother had never hated her weakness. She had hated her strength. The man's eyes burned with anger. So she betrayed her own blood because she was afraid. "Yes," the hunter hissed. "And now we will sell the girl's power to the highest empire. She will never be free again." The girl's heart broke. Betrayal cut deeper than any wound. She remembered the cold voice of her stepmother. "You are not my daughter." Now she understood the truth. She had never been unwanted because she was weak. She had been unwanted because she was strong. Her glowing eyes filled with tears, but inside them, a spark of fire began to grow. The man saw it. Even chained, even beaten, he felt a surge of hope. She was not giving up. The hunters dragged him to his knees. One lifted his weapon to strike. "We will silence the human. He is nothing." But before the blow fell, the girl screamed. "No." Her voice shook the air. Light burst from her body once more, brighter than before. The hunters staggered, their helmets cracking under the force. Chains around the man shattered. Falling to the ground, the man grabbed a broken piece of metal and swung hard, striking the nearest hunter. Sparks flew, and the giant stumbled back. The girl's light burned, but her body trembled. She was fighting against her fear, against her weakness, against the lie she had been told all her life. The lead hunter roared. "She will burn herself out. Then she will be ours." The man pulled the girl into his arms, shielding her. "No, she's not yours. She's mine to protect." The girl pressed her forehead against his chest, whispering through tears, "Dad, I don't want to be sold. I don't want to be a weapon." He held her tighter. "Then you won't be. I swear it." The hunters regrouped, fury blazing in their eyes. Their weapons crackled with deadly power. The man raised his voice, strong and clear. "Tell your mistress this. Her lies end here. She may have betrayed her own daughter, but this child has a father now." The girl looked up at him, her tears shining like stars. For the first time in her life, she believed those words. The hunters charged again, their armor glowing red. The forest shook with their roar. But the bond between man and alien girl burned brighter than fear. This was no longer a chase. This was a war. The forest burned with red light. Trees cracked and fell as the hunters advanced, their weapons glowing like fire. The broken ship shook under each blast. Inside, the alien girl clung to the human man's arm, her small body trembling. "They will never stop," she whispered, her voice full of fear. "They will keep coming until I am gone." The man knelt before her, gripping her shoulders firmly. His eyes locked on hers, sharp and steady. "Listen to me. You are not cursed. You are not weak. You are powerful because you care. That is why your stepmother fears you. That is why they chase you." Her glowing eyes filled with tears. "But I can't control it. If I use my power again, I might die." "Then let me fight," he said. His voice was calm but strong, like a blade that would not bend. "You gave me light when I had nothing. Now I will give you everything I have left." Outside, the hunters roared, "Bring out the girl. The mistress commands her return." The man rose, gripping his blaster tightly. His armor was cracked, his body bruised, but his spirit burned hotter than fire. He looked back at her one last time. "No matter what happens, remember this. You are my daughter now." Her lips trembled. For the first time in her life, someone had claimed her, not as a burden, not as a curse, but as family. The door of the ship burst open. Smoke poured in. The hunters stepped forward, their red eyes glowing like demons. The man walked out alone. The ground shook under his boots. His shadow stretched across the dirt, small compared to the giants before him, but unbroken. One hunter laughed. "You are only a man. We are many. Stand aside." The man lifted his weapon. "I've stood aside long enough." The hunters charged. The first swung his staff, but the man ducked low and fired into his chest. Sparks exploded, and the giant fell. The second leaped with claws ready, but the man rolled and struck him with the butt of his blaster, sending the hunter crashing into a tree. The third came from behind, grabbing his arm. The man twisted, breaking free, and smashed his elbow into the hunter's helmet. The glass cracked. The hunter staggered back, stunned. Inside the ship, the girl watched, with wide eyes. Each strike, each move was for her. He was outnumbered, but he fought like an army. Her heart pounded. She wanted to help, but her body was weak. Her power flickered faintly, like a candle almost out. She pressed her hands together and whispered, "Please, give him strength. Take mine if you must." The man fought on. Energy blasts lit the night, burning the earth around him. His armor smoked, his arms shook, but his will did not break. One hunter raised his weapon high, aiming at the girl inside the ship. The man saw it and roared, his voice echoing across the forest. He threw himself forward, firing shot after shot, until the hunter collapsed in flames. He stood in the smoke, chest heaving, blood dripping from his lip. His blaster hummed hot, almost empty. The remaining hunters regrouped. Their leader snarled, his voice like thunder. "You cannot win, human. You are only flesh. We are the will of the mistress." The man spat blood and raised his weapon again. "Then tell your mistress flesh is enough," he charged. The battle was fierce. Sparks filled the air. Smoke clouded the moonlight. The man struck, fired, and endured. Each hit he took only fueled his rage. Each breath he drew was for the girl. Inside the ship, the girl's tears fell, but her fear turned to fire. She could not let him stand alone. She pushed herself up, her legs shaking. She placed her glowing hands on the engine, feeding it. What little power she had left. The ship roared louder. Lights blazed. The hunters turned, alarmed. The man saw his chance. With a final cry, he drove his blade deep into the last hunter's chest. Sparks erupted, and the giant fell silent. Silence spread across the forest. The air smelled of smoke and ashdot. The man dropped to one knee, exhausted. His blaster fell from his hand. He looked back at the ship and saw her, standing weak but glowing, faintly. Their eyes met, and for a moment, nothing else mattered. She whispered through trembling lips, "You stood for me." Like a father, he managed a tired smile. Always. But before they could breathe, the ground shook again. A shadow fell over the forest above them. A massive ship descended, blocking the stars. Its black metal gleamed with cruel light. The girl's face turned pale. "It's her," she whispered. "My stepmother." The man clenched his fists, forcing himself to stand tall again. The battle was not over. The true enemy had arrived. The ground trembled. Trees bent and cracked under the force of engines as a massive black warship descended from the sky. Its shadows swallowed the forest, turning night into deeper night. The human man and the alien girl looked up together, there, hearts heavy. The girl's voice was a whisper, thin and broken. "It's her. My stepmother." The ship landed with a roar, shaking the earth. Dust rose in waves. From the open hatch, a tall figure appeared. Her armor was silver, shining under the moon, and her crown glowed with red gems. Her face was cold, sharp like a blade. "Daughter," she said, her voice echoing across the field. "You ran far, but you cannot run from me." The girl shrank back, her hands trembling. Every part of her wanted to hide, but the man stepped in front of her. His body was bruised, his armor broken, but his stance was unshaken. "She is not your daughter anymore," he said firmly. "She is mine to protect." The stepmother's lips curled into a cruel smile. "A human dares claim my blood. Fool, you don't even know what she is." "I know enough," he answered. "She is a child who deserves love, something you never gave." The stepmother raised her hand. A blade of pure energy formed in her, palm glowing like fire. "Then you will die with her." The girl clutched the man's arm. "Dad, don't fight her. She is too strong." He looked back at her, his voice steady. "I don't care how strong she is. I promised you a home. I'll keep that promise." The stepmother struck first. Her blade cut through the air with deadly speed. The man blocked with his broken blaster, sparks exploding as metal clashed with energy. He staggered, but did not fall. The battle raged. Each strike shook the ground. The stepmother moved like lightning, her power endless. The man fought back with grit, with fury, with the strength of a father who refused to let go. The girl watched in terror. She wanted to help, but fear chained her heart. Her stepmother's voice echoed in her head. "You are cursed. You are nothing." Her hands shook. She pressed them to her chest. "No, I am not nothing." She stepped forward, her glow returning. Her small voice cut through the clash of battle. I am not cursed. I am chosen. Her stepmother turned, eyes burning. With rage, silence, child, you dare defy me. The girl's light grew brighter. Her body glowed until she was like a star standing on the earth. Yes, you betrayed me because you feared me. You hated me because I was strong, but I am not afraid of you anymore. The stepmother roared and charged at her, blade raised high. The man tried to block, but he was too far. The girl lifted her hands. Blinding light burst out, pure and endless. It swallowed the darkness, burning through the stepmother's armor, breaking her crown, shattering her weapon. The scream of the woman echoed across the forest as the light consumed her. When the glow faded, the stepmother was gone. Only ash and silence remained. The girl fell to her knees, her body weak, her chest heaving. She whispered, "Did I? Did I do good?" The man ran to her, lifting her gently in his arms. He held her close, his voice soft but strong. You did more than good. You saved us both. Her glowing eyes looked up at him, tired but full of hope. Then, can I stay with you? Can I really be your daughter? He smiled, tears in his eyes. You already are. Above them, the warship cracked and burned, breaking apart without its master. The sky cleared, and for the first time in years, the stars shone bright over the land. The man carried the girl back into the ship, together. They finished the repairs. The engine roared to life, fed by her final spark of light. Slowly, the ship lifted from the ground. The forest, once full of hunters and fear, grew smaller below them. The girl rested her head against his chest, whispering, "Where will we go?" "Anywhere you want," he said. "The galaxy is wide, and from now on, wherever we go, that will be our home." Her lips curved into the smallest, happiest smile. Home. She repeated softly, as if testing the word for the first time. The ship climbed higher, leaving the ashes of betrayal behind. Stars stretched before them, endless and bright. Far away, in the silent dark, another shadow stirred. A figure hidden. In the void watched their ship, his eyes glowing like burning coals. His voice was a whisper lost to the stars. The child lives. The war has only begun. But inside the ship, the man and the girl did not know. For them, tonight was victory. Tonight was family. Tonight, a father and daughter had found each other.